the draw for the last 16 has just been released now, and these games are just honestly one of the craziest draws I've seen. Here we have March 4th. We're just gonna go by game, talk about how recent team performances are, and just who I personally think will make it through. First game we have here is PSG versus Liverpool. In that game, that's just honestly, that's just a game you need to see live to see who wins, because at the moment how PSG are playing at the moment, honestly, just to get first, PSG have not looked honestly very pleasing in the beginning half of this season. They almost nearly got knocked out of the Champions League early on in the bracket stages, or in the table stage. And Liverpool, they've been performing out of their mind up until I guess late January, and it's weird. It's a weird position for these two teams because PSG and Liverpool basically did a little swap. Liverpool are not. How do I explain this here? I still think they are a top team in the world, one of the best teams in the world. But they're having a slight performance deficit they have here. We can see here in the last few games here. They lost to Tottenham in the I think it was the cup. Yeah, the EFL Cup. And sure, they're still winning games. Like I said, they're not a bad team. Liverpool's nowhere near a bad team. Don't get me wrong. It's just that recently their performances has been a little, Salah hasn't been performing at his best. Like Liverpool as a whole, honestly, has just not. It's just a weird situation for Liverpool. I still think they're gonna overcome PSG. Don't get me wrong. But you look at over here on the left, they won 10-0 in aggregate against Brest, who's I'm pretty sure one of the top teams in Liga 1 right now. And I thought it was going to be a close game because I think Brest has really good players in their team, but it's just absolute domination for PSG, absolute. And the versing Liverpool, top in the Premier League, who knows for much longer, because if this little decline Liverpool's having will affect their title race here. And for me, I still have Liverpool taking or beating PSG and making it to the quarters. But it's going to be a close game. I really think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be difficult for Robertson going against the likes of Kavicha and Dembele and Barcola. So, I've always said a main thing with Liverpool is that they need a left back. I love Robertson. He's been my favorite left back for Liverpool for a while. But, he's not the same player that he was 2018, 2019. So, but I still think Liverpool are going to take that with PSG. Second game we have here is Club Brugge against Aston Villa. And honestly, I think this is actually going to be a really good match. Club Brugge has looked really good. They have a really good young team. And Aston Villa, the signing, they made a bunch of new January signings. Well, Malin's not in the Champions League list, but they also have Marco Asensio and Marcus Rashford. So I really do think that this is also going to be a really close game because Club Brugge are just performing really good. They performed well against. They played pretty good against Manchester City, and surprisingly, beat Atalanta, who's having a title race down in Serie A. So I think this game is going to be really close. I wouldn't be surprised if Club Brugge won, but I'm not confident. But I still think that Aston Villa will meet Liverpool in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. You can't forget their star Oli Watkins, who's looked really good, who's just tied against Liverpool the other day, and I still think this is gonna be a really close game here, and yeah, as of right now, I still think Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Here now, we're gonna head down to a Madrid derby in the quarterfinals, which I pretty much wanted. I think that Madrid will get their get back from that controversial game against Atletico early on or a few games ago. And I think that this is going to be a tricky game for Liverpool. I still think Real Madrid. This game is going to be really close, don't get me wrong. I feel like out of a lot of teams here in this bracket, I think Atletico is one of the teams that are going to be able to compete with Real Madrid people are probably gonna misheard. They think like, what are you talking about? Liverpool can easily compete with Real Madrid. Barcelona can easily compete with Real Madrid. But I just think that Atletico's, I guess, dynamic of their game with Real Madrid at the moment, I think just really just meshes well because that Atletico game happened a few days ago, a week ago maybe too. Real Madrid, I feel like they could have easily won that game, but it's just for me, it's just coaching issues, Carlos Ancelotti. But this game here is gonna be a really good game. I wasn't scared of City at all. You know, I in La Liga, I was more nervous with the Atletico game than the Manchester City game. That was the Champions League, and now we have Atletico in the Champions League. So I think Real Madrid are gonna beat Atletico. It's not gonna be an easy match, but yeah, I do think Real Madrid will win that. So at the moment, it's Liverpool, Aston Villa, and then Real Madrid. Now we're heading down to Arsenal, PSV. They did beat Juve, but Juve's been slacking a lot lately. They've been drawing. They've been playing, I guess, a lineup that people are controversial about with their lineup, and I do think that Arsenal, I'm not gonna say they're gonna win comfortably, but I just think that they're gonna, win. PSV will have a little, fight. They have good players. Don't get me wrong. Bakayoko is especially a player that you should be worried about, and I think that Arsenal will just win, pretty simply. Nothing crazy about this match. I could be 100% wrong also, but yeah. But I think Real Madrid will face Arsenal down in the quarterfinals of the left side of the bracket in the Champions League. Barcelona Benfica. We saw this match a few Champions League games ago, and it was a close game. It was a really close game. At one point Benfica were about to win at home, but then Barcelona just made that, amazing comeback. And I don't think it's gonna. How do I explain here? Benfica has a really good team, but at the moment, I just feel like Barcelona are just gonna easily just cruise by, sweep Benfica. Benfica are gonna put up a fight also. It's for me similar like Arsenal and PSV. All these teams in this bracket are really good. Really, anything could happen here. Who knows? We could see an Aston Villa in the semis. We could see a Feyenoord maybe even make it through, but we'll talk about them afterwards. But Benfica's still a really good team, but Barcelona, if they just perform how, pretty much they've been performing all year, and not be inconsistent, because I feel like it's a main issue with Barcelona, because sometimes I feel like they are inconsistent. They'll just, I feel like Barcelona, they'll fly through that game, and then probably fly through the quarters, because they don't really have much competition. They have Leo or Dortmund. So for me, I said before, the way the bracket's looking like, they are easily semifinals / final contenders for the Champions League. And here, like I said before, Leo and Dortmund. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Leo won. For me, it's weird. Dortmund are terrible in the Bundesliga. It's absolute terrible team in the Bundesliga. But in the Champions League, they somehow make it work, which I'm just completely surprised. I thought Sporting was going to be Dortmund, and then they do that. And in the bracket play, or in the table stage, they also put up a fight. So I was just really surprised with Dortmund, honestly, being in the position where they are right now with their Bundesliga performance. So I wouldn't be surprised if Leo won. I really wouldn't. This game, I could honestly care less about. Whoever wins that, Leo could win it for all I care. So I'm gonna have, for the sake of it, I'll just have Dortmund go through. If that probably messes up my prediction, then oh well. Because like I said, it's not even one sided. It's literally just a flip of a coin. So at the moment, I have Dortmund, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Barcelona with Borussia Dortmund, and here we're gonna head down with the other German teams, and it's Leverkusen versus Bayern. Which for me, this is gonna be a game that Leverkusen is gonna go through in the quarters. I think that Bayern is such an overrated team. I really do think that. I think Bayern's overrated. They almost got knocked out by Celtic. Celtic were the better team by far in the second half, and that last minute goal really, we really could have seen Celtic in the last 16 of the Champions League in this new format. So, and I just think that Leverkusen's going to win. You know, Bayern's still on top in the Bundesliga. Don't get me wrong. They're still a good team. Don't get me wrong. But I just do think that Leverkusen will get the end of them at the end of the day. So we'll have Leverkusen over there. We're going to head down to Feyenoord, Inter Milan. Someone said Feyenoord was going to make the semis. I was like, listen, Feyenoord has a really good team. They don't have a proper number 9 at the moment. Santiago Jimenez being getting sold to AC Milan, who they just beat. And also, I'm pretty sure the other number 9 was just injured as well. But I just think Inter is going to win it pretty simply. They have so many star players in their team, and they're second place in Serie A right now, I think, with a game in hand. So, I think Leverkusen will match up with Inter, and we're just going to run by through that. So, Liverpool versus Aston Villa. Liverpool are going to make it to the semis. Real Madrid versus Arsenal. I think Real Madrid will make it to the semis as well. Barcelona against Dortmund. Barca semis. Leverkusen versus Inter. And that game actually is really tough. But I'm going to have Xabi Alonso's men down as the final 6 or 4. And here we're going to have the semis. Real Madrid versus Liverpool in the semifinals of the Champions League. And over here on the other side, we're going to have Barcelona versus Bayer Leverkusen. For me, that last 4, it's just, I'm calling off work for those games. I'm doing whatever I can to watch both legs of these games. Because I think those games, Liverpool versus Real Madrid and Barcelona versus Leverkusen, are just such... I feel like both of those games just work well with each other, with those teams that they're going against with. But now this is the final time. I have Real Madrid. I was gonna say easily Real Madrid going to the finals, but wow, the way Real Madrid. I mean, I said it last time. I said Real Madrid were gonna come up, and then they just played sloppy those all the games. But Liverpool, the form Liverpool, and they're so good, but they're not performing the way that they were. And if this game against City really boosts up Real Madrid and they start performing good and start using players where they should be playing, I'm going to have Real Madrid in the finals. I really wanted Salah to win this Ballon d'Or this year, and I would love to see Liverpool win it as well, But, it's going to be a tough game, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. But I will have Real Madrid in the finals. I'm going to say Real Madrid in the finals, Barcelona versus Leverkusen. Barcelona, a Real Madrid, finally, for everyone's waiting, a Real Madrid versus Barcelona final where they versus again? I completely forgot. But a Real Madrid versus Barcelona final, everyone's been waiting to see it, and I think this year we're finally going to happen with, I just imagine the storylines. Barcelona finally competing on, starting playing good after having a terrible run for 3 years, and then Real Madrid having finally sounding Kylian Mbappe, and the season that he's finally having now is just, I think the storyline is just going amazing. And of course, I'm going to have Real Madrid as your winner of this year's Champions League. It's not going to be easy. I could be completely wrong. Hell, we could have fucking Club Brugge win this whole thing. But yeah, that's why I have it. I think Real Madrid will win it, because I feel like that's just the main thing with Real Madrid is. I could be wrong though. I think I could honestly see a Liverpool versus Barcelona final as well, and I'd probably prefer that, because if Madrid lose to Barca in the final, I'm never gonna hear the end of it. I feel like no one will ever hear the end of it. So, but yeah, for me, I have either Real Madrid, Liverpool versus Barca in the final. I feel like Barca have an easier passageway. But yeah, that's pretty much what I have for this year's bracket. This year's last 16's bracket. And these games are going to be crazy. They all start, I think, March 4th. So, I think 2 weeks. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. And let's get back to you in Champions League football.